Hello there, lads and ladies. Welcome back to another manga review. Today we are doing Komi Can't Communicate, Volume 6. And I'm loving the opening of, the cover of this book actually. It's of the boys, mostly Tadano, off to the side here, thinking of the girls in the classroom and kind of like what they would be if they dated them. Of course, we always expect Komi to be the waifu of the situation, of course. Very nice picture actually, I quite like that. Nice choice for putting that on for the book actually, and on the back they're doing a little art project as well. Sorry about the light. I've got it's bright outside but it's wet. But it's wet. If you're wondering why I've got a British Lions jersey on, I'm about to go over to the park to practice a couple of kicks, conversions and drop goals with my rugby ball, in preparation for the Autumn Nationals today. So that'll be fantastic to look out for, really. I think we've got Scotland versus Tonga today, so really expecting Scotland to do well. And Wales, I think, will be going against, I think their first ones out are the All Blacks, so it'll be nice to see Wales get some experience with the All Blacks. With the 2019 World Cup, they didn't really do so well against them, unfortunately. I think they came fourth overall in the tournament. Still, it's definitely a nice thing to see Wales actually come so far. You know, with them being equal to England in the Six Nations and all that when it comes to wins, basically. And Scotland did brilliantly in the Six Nations this year. I think they beat us. I believe they beat England in the 2021 World not the World Cup, the Six Nations. So that was pretty good actually. They did very well. It's unfortunate to hear about Italy as well not doing too well. I'd like them to win a couple of more games, preferably not against us, but you know, you can only hope really, because Italy deserves it with the amount of passion they have in the game really. But yeah, so yes, we are doing Volume 6 today. With Volume 6, we have an awful lot more interesting things going down. As I've explained, it goes over the certain sections of the boys in the class, like kind of fantasizing like what it would be like to date each girl in the class. Some more interesting than others, really, kind of like how someone's kind of talked about Najimi or something like that, which was kind of weird because Najimi is, you know, the femboy of the group, I'd so like to say. I don't know if there's a word for it, but yeah, I'd like to say he's probably the trap of the group, which is kind of weird why someone would actually like talk about that. But anyway, it then kind of moves on to certain sections of Komi out with her father. Komi is taking her father out to get her some new clothes. Well, she was actually meant to go out to get clothes for herself, but she ended up just trying to choose clothes for her father, which was quite lovely actually. We don't know much about her father, only that he's the quiet, stoic type in a certain sense. So kind of like Komi, that's where she gets her quiet side from, basically, and maybe where she gets her very kind of scary look from, basically, thanks to her father, really. And I think when Tadano met him for the first time, he was kind of like, I don't know how to talk to this guy. He's very silent. Like, you know, you ever have that feeling like, you know, when you're going out with a girl or you're going out with a guy and you meet that person's father for the first time and he kind of like shit tests you, you know, like, oh, are you good enough to be dating my daughter? Are you good enough to be dating my son? So on and so forth, you know, it's like that. Well, it's kind of different really with women, really, because like, you know, if dads like meet the daughters for the first time, it's sort of like, oh yeah, I hope he's treating you with absolute, you know, care and consideration, you know, like being an absolute gentleman and all that. But when it's with a guy, like you're more depraved, that he's more depraved than you are, basically. Like he'll probably just come in like, oh, can I take my coat off, sir? Can I take my coat off? He's stripping off already. Or like there's I had this one time. I was dating a girl and I said hello, sir, and he said hello, sir. What kind of foul, fucking, disgusting language is that? He was joking, obviously, but it was just funny to me. And yeah, so she takes him out to get some clothes. She tries like different styles and all that. He looks really good in leather. Surprisingly, he kind of like has that Men in Black feel to him. Like whenever he puts on a black suit, he kind of looks like a dashing chap. You know, very dashing young chap. Which is funny because I think he's like in his 50s or something like that. I'm actually very interested in his age because they didn't have children young. Komi is roughly 18, so I think she probably was born when he was. Well, she's the second oldest. Sosuke is about. I can't tell. I can't remember if Shosuke is older or younger. I think Shosuke is younger, so she's technically the oldest. Yeah, so I think he was maybe 30 something, maybe 32, something like that. So 18 years roughly would come around to 50. Yeah, I think maybe he was about 32 something when she was born, which is kind of a good thing because you see an awful lot of adults and all that these days, like teenagers with pregnancies and stuff like that, and that just makes me think to myself, like, really? You have your whole life and you're willing to have a child right away? Like, come on now. Like, have some forethought, you know, like, have a child if you want the child, and have a child with someone that you love, really, not just because of certain situations and stuff like that. So anyway, this is like one of the clothes he's in, basically, which is, I quite like it, actually. He's kind of got like that 1950s spy type deal, or maybe like like a 1920s mobster, like an Italian mafia type deal, really. It looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, she can't apparently choose clothes for herself, which is kind of interesting. This one looks cool. This is kind of like, what is it? It's kind of like the high fashion. He's got like the turtleneck here. He's got like the 12-sided buttons vest and all that. The vest looks nice. I went to a party recently, and whenever I go out to fancy get-togethers and stuff like that, I always use the vest, really, because it kind of shows off the upper chest area nicely. And you don't want to go too much with a vest, just like a small shirt, maybe like a little trench coat. Well, I wouldn't say little, like a trench coat to basically kind of give the allure of the vest, basically. Like, you ever have that thing when you see a girl and the sex appeal comes from what she has on, not what she doesn't have on, basically, if that makes any sense. So like it's like the little black dress thing, really. Like if there's a girl and you see her with the black dress, like and she's got like thigh highs and stuff like that, that's sexy. With them off, not much big deal. It's what you can't see on a person that makes the sex appeal interesting, basically. And he definitely has that with his range of fashion and stuff like that. He's a very handsome chap, even though you can't see his eyes really. It's a shame because I think he has I think he would have deep looking eyes if he took his glasses off. Because I can't think of any other way on how Komi's mum, Shoko, her name is Komi Shoko is the name, I believe. I don't know how he managed to get a hold of her, although he was probably a gentleman in every way, shape, and form, really. I kind of like these little intersections as well, where it shows off different like arts of Komi and other characters. And this one is kind of like her if she was a disciplined child, like not disciplined, like if she was I almost want to say degenerate, but no, there was a thing that they had for kids that were troublemakers in school. I can't remember what they're called. I think they were just something along the lines of. I guess the class bullies or something like that, or the class gangsters or something like that. You know, the ones that would always wear face masks around school, and they kind of like didn't follow the rules, so they like had rolled up skirts and rolled up sleeves and stuff like that. You know, they carried around like canes and stuff. They did their own thing. I don't really have a saying for that, really. This chap I like. I can't remember his name, but he comes across as a very intimidating person. You know, like whenever you see like the gentle giants and all that, it comes across as a very tall, very aggressive looking person, but deep down he's actually very soft spoken, very sensitive, which is why you don't ever hear him like screaming or shouting. So it's kind of like the idea of like, you know, he doesn't talk much, that people fear him for, because people kind of feel like he's it's kind of like Komi in that situation, which is probably why he respects Komi so much. Komi's completely frightened of him, and everyone else is. Tadano's the only one that will talk to him, and Tadano understands that, you know, he can't get the words out like the way he wants them to, really, and comes across in a very different, unique way. Really, it's interesting. But yeah, he becomes friends with Tadano, and there's an awful lot of jokes surrounding like him calling Komi like his boss or something like that. You know, because kind of sees her as a teacher in communication for some strange reason because even though he talks to Dodano already, he doesn't really know exactly how to talk to others. And there's even a scene where like the school bullies try to pick on Komi or something like that. Or I can't remember if they pick on Komi or Dodano or something like that. But they get like one look at Komi with the big guy, and they're like, "Oh no, no, don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with any of that." Oh no, 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 that's right. Yeah, they jump him, I think, and he doesn't even know he's being jumped or something like that. Like there's this bit where he picks up a coin off of the floor, and the guy like swings a bat or something at something, and then he misses, and for some reason it bounces off a wall and then backs into his head. Like it's an accidental type deal thing, you know, in these anime fights and stuff like that. You ever had that? Like you ever seen that in anime where someone's just going about their day, they're doing normal regular things, and they're like affecting everything around them in a certain sense? It's kind of like that, really, which is pretty cool. And this is kind of a nice little side bit as well, where Komi's got like the communication master thing down here. You remember these from the old MMO type games where you would like put all of your skill points into one thing? Hers is into communication. I'm very surprised that none of it is in beauty or knowledge because she's a very intelligent, beautiful woman. I wouldn't think she was strong. There's scariness as well, which is quite funny. I thought that would be maxed out to compared to some other people within this manga, really. There's also some small instances of her with a cat. Like Komi has like this little thing with a cat called Chocolate, where it doesn't go up to people or communicate to people in a certain sense or anything like that. And she has a very deep fondness with black cats. And there's even like this one specific scene in the later mangas where Dodano gets a giant black cat, which is kind of showing off really because she keeps it in her room all the time. She hugs it whenever she feels down and stuff like that. It's just nice, really, a nice little connection between Dodano and herself, really. And the cat Chocolate basically kind of shows off its respect to her by coming up to her and like stroking its body against her leg. And he falls instantly in love with her because of how non-bothered she is, like on her face. Like he kind of feels like it's a mark of respect that he's seen on her face, like that she's not bothered, but she's just like that's her resting face. She just looks like scary to some other things, which is why there's a misconstruedness about it, basically. I think I have a picture of the cat. That's the cat, and that's her holding the cat, basically. The interesting thing with Komi is that she's a real big lover of animals. She just doesn't really know how to like transmogrify that into humans, basically. It's kind of a similar situation, really, with animal lovers. I'm an animal lover myself, but it's easier to deal with animals than it is with people because of the complications that we always have in our societies when it comes to like beauty, how you should carry yourself, how you speak, and so on and so forth. Like my old Aoife, he didn't care that I was like some 5'2" child, like some snotty nosed kids that just loved his company. Really, I loved my boy and he loved me. That's the same with Bailey as well. She was a gorgeous dog and she always loved my company. The interesting thing with Bailey is that when I had to go put her down, I think the last thing she did, as like kind of like a mark of respect, really, she kind of like lifted her head up to me, rested on my neck, licked it a couple of times, and then as the medication was being administered to her, because she was suffering from seizures, I might not talk about Bailey that much, it's because I'm still struggling with having to talk about her a little bit. She was suffering from seizures. Thought it would be much safer to have her put down, really, and it was a good thing we did because if we'd left it any later, then she probably could have like gone for someone or myself or anything like that, or it might have just caused her utter pain. She was in absolute pain, so we had to put her down. Anyway, she was resting on my neck, and she kind of gave it one last two licks, and with a small little sigh, like I felt like breath coming out of her nose onto my neck. As the medicine sunk in, she started to lose her body weight, like her weight just dropped into my arms. I think I sat there for about half an hour holding her, like in the middle of the operating theatre, basically. And the nurse said to me, like, I'm sorry, sir, but we have to move her. Are you okay to move? And I said, okay, that's fine. I got up. She went to like help pick the dog up, and I normally don't do it. I like shouted at her, "Don't touch her." I didn't mean to, but at the time I was like really holding in the tears, really, from losing my dog. Really, it's kind of poignant as well because I never got to say goodbye to Deefa. You know, he died at the bottom of my stairs in one of my old apartments, basically. So he there's a thing with dogs where sometimes they'll remove themselves from families or from situations so they don't have to like clean up the body or anything like that, or sometimes they just slip away and allow themselves to die by themselves. Really, it's quite a very distraughting, very uh, thing, really, because I feel like Diva was doing it really as a mark. Really, it was the same thing with my mum, really, as well, because when she would always like throw a stick, he would like look at it as to say, "I'm no pet. I'm not chasing that. I'm not chasing that whatsoever." But then on like 2 or 3 days prior to him getting sick and to him passing away, he chased the stick she threw for one last time and brought it back, and let's say, oh, "Okay, here you go. Here's your stick." Yeah, sorry if I'm going a little bit off cue talking about them, really, but it's, if I can't talk about myself and my life, really, you know what? I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to